Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Yeah, it's still pretty dark. It looks cloudy here at 5:48. See, we're getting further away from June, so it's going to be darker and darker. Pretty soon it's going to be pitch black at 6 a.m. Oh man, I'm going to have to start these later. Dawn is coming later, right? All right, so anyway, it's got to be Dawn Busters, not night bust, not overnight. But that's what it's going to become as we head closer to November. It'll be overnight taste challenges. I have to put the lamp in here and turn it on. Some people say, what did they say? Why are you in the dark? Well, it's dark. And you got to understand, when I mostly listen to beer reviews more than watch them. I mean, I can see the person, they're sitting there pouring it, but I listen to them more like I'm talking about me, what I do, like a radio show, just listen to it. And then if I start daydreaming, I'll so-called rewind it, say, what did they say? Oh, okay. But everybody has a different approach. But anyway, we'll do discussion later, maybe, if we do it at all. We have Albertsons Canadian whiskey, okay? How long has this been on the market? This I don't know. I know the company's been around since 1939, Albertsons. And apparently, and I have no independent confirmation of this, apparently they've been producing store brand or selling store brand liquor for decades, because somebody was commenting saying he worked at a grocery store or distributor back down in the southwestern United States in the 1970s, around 1972. He said they had these brands. So, and a lot of companies have the store brands, and they just contract with a producer. K&B, Katz and Bestoff drugstore chain in Louisiana was bought out by Rite Aid, but they always had their own brand of beer, wine, and liquor, okay? And ice cream. No, they did not have a Katz and Bestoff factory where they made their products. They just contracted with a producer. So this is an old practice. And in this case, one of the big contract producers is Sazerac, okay? Sazerac Company, Buffalo Trace, you know what I'm talking about. Barton Distilling, Majestic Distilling of Maryland, do a lot of contract production. In beer, who does a lot of the contract production in beer? NAB, North American Breweries, or people call it Genesee because that's their main brand. Of course, Genesee is not a company. It's owned by a company. They do a lot of the store brands. And City Brewing, who doesn't have their own brand, they only do contract brewing. And Martins in Europe, the Belgian company. Minhas does a lot of that. So this is common. This is very common. Sleeman, I think, does a lot of that in Canada. Sleeman, Sapporo. Mitsubishi. That's who it is, ultimately. Are store brands worse than regular brands? Well, I don't think they're better, generally. OC says, outstanding cruise. Could you review the Canadian whiskey of Rich and Rare Reserve? Thanks, Jay. I do have that on the lineup, in the lineup. Rich and Rare is in my lineup. Rich and Rare Reserve is in the lineup. So I've got those position to be reviewed. Black Velvet, yes. Lord Calvert, Canadian, yes. Canadian Windsor, it's all lined up. It's going to take a while, though. And I mean a while. I've got so much to drink down. I am making it through the back stock of the stuff I'm not going to taste challenge anymore, though. So that's happening. So we got Canadian Crest. This is another store brand, and these are both Albertsons brands. Interestingly, Canadian Crest has been on the market since 1987. You might say, well, I was in Jewel Osco and saw Canadian Crest. Yes, because Jewel Osco and Albertsons are both owned by the same investment company, same conglomerate. You might say, I was in Super Value and saw it. I was in Safeway. Yeah, yep. That's right. You might see Piper Dean Scotch. Now, this is assuming that you live in a place that allows grocery stores to sell liquor. Louisiana is very liberal in that sense. And now, some parishes are very strict because we have a lot of local government. But Louisiana is very liberal when it comes to liquor laws. The state government, you know, grocery stores, convenience stores, gas stations, all sell beer, wine, and liquor, okay? I gotta sip some of that. But some parishes, you call them counties in your state, parishes are strict. You can go to North Louisiana, and some of them are virtually dry counties, parishes. But in St. Bernard Parish, you got to buy liquor at a liquor store, but that's right next to New Orleans, southeast of New Orleans. But Orleans Parish, St. John the Baptist Parish, St. Charles, Jefferson Parish, very liberal. You can buy, like I said. So Albertsons, it's so convenient. I can go right there to Hammond and buy all kind of interesting liquors, spirit, you know, liquor brands that I can't get other places. Albertsons is like a different world, you know, with everything. You know, it's a very interesting store to go to around here. Valentin says, can you also do beer tastings live at this hour? That would be awesome. I could do it, but I don't think I will do it because I'm so caught up in the taste challenges with the whiskey. It's convenient to get them done at this time of day. You understand? It's like I can do that on my days off and it's done. You know what I mean? Like, so I think beer taste challenges, I'll do those in the afternoon or the late morning on a recorded thing, you know, with the camera recording. I don't have too many of those coming up because I've done so many of the beer challenges. I've established the case that you can tell them apart to an extent. The light beer is very difficult, very difficult. And Dr. Dave was telling me that. He said, you just wrong. They're virtually indistinguishable. And I was saying, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. But saying it and doing it is two different things. So I did the taste challenges, Bud Light, Miller Light, Coors Light, Keystone Light, right? Miller High Life Light. And they were very difficult to tell apart. So he was right about that. Although in his opinion, they're very bad and, you know, they're no good. And my opinion is that's not, I don't agree with that. I like drink, well, some people like drinking light beer. They're too thin to me. I would call them thin beer. But thin doesn't sound too good for marketing purposes, right? So, but like macro beers, premium beers, Budweiser, Coors, Banquet, Old Milwaukee Schlitz, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Miller High Life, et cetera, et cetera. They're very similar, but they're distinct. Now you get more body. You see there's more body in them and you can start telling them apart. Is it a great, tremendous, profound difference? No, I don't think so. The Genesee Cream Ale is very good in the mix. I think the Genesee beer, though, is a drop-off. It's not as good. I don't know. There's something about it. And the Genesee Ice, it seemed like a lesser ice beer. And then those NAB, those North American Beverage Labatt brands that they make in the United States, Labatt Blue, what is it, Blue Max or Blue Light, Max Light, they're like ice. They're sort of like a mimic of the Budweiser, Bud Light Platinum. They always had something off about them. I like Labatt Blue from Canada, you know, the Canadian version, yes. But anyway, the whiskey brands, though, I'm trying to get a handle on them more, you know, because I didn't really ever drink whiskey ever until, what, 3 years ago? So you might say, you don't know much about whiskey. You're a novice. You're an amateur. Well, yes, that's right. I don't think that it does. I don't think that matters. I don't know why people have to have experience to experience things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get experience by not having experience, right? You know what I'm saying? So you might have somebody new to drinking whiskey or brandy, because, you know, I did brandy or gin. And then you got the people that sort of have a bad attitude about it, say, well, I've been drinking whiskey since I was 15 years old in 1978. And I know way more than you, you know, I mean, you should know way more, but I don't know why it has to be like this exclusive club where, well, I've been doing it and you're new. And so we have some kind of problem with you. You know, you find that in the beer world too. Like, who are you, kid? They can make a video channel if they want. You know what I mean? Like, let them make a video channel. Why you have to be defensive? It's like, well, you're trying to build your brand. That's right. You don't want competition. All right. Anyway, let's see. Gold. Same appearance. Are these going to be that different from each other? I don't see how. They're both made by the same people and for the same company. Okay, back to the comments. Hello, Ron. How are you? Dark is nice. It's nice. Yeah, the daylight's coming. You know, it's cloudy. It's going to be rainy today. I hope it gives me some window to do some yard work. Valentin says store brands are cheap and much worse. Generally, I would agree with that. Generally, but not always. You can buy navy beans, great value navy beans from Walmart. Are they worse than Bush's navy beans? No. And you can buy the from Dollar General, what do they call it? That bean with bacon soup. Boy, it's salty, but it's there's a name brand. It's not Dollar General. They call it something. I can't remember. You know, but it's very good. But it depends who their producer is. Go to Trader Joe's. There's a perfect example. Some Trader Joe's brands are obviously inferior with beer. Obviously inferior. Others that are made by Firestone Walker or Gordon Biersch, very nice products. Very nice. Okay. I won't have to mix these up too much because they look so similar. Now, I agree that store brand soft drinks, I don't even like salt. I don't like Coke, Pepsi, 7-Up to start with. I don't drink that stuff anymore. I feel a lot better. You might say, you drink beer? Yeah, I know. I feel a lot better drinking beer. I mean, physically, I feel healthier. Okay? Lost 30 pounds years ago. Stopped drinking soft drinks about 2 years ago. I never drank too many anyway. I was drinking once a month. But those Winn-Dixie brand cola or Surefine, lemon lime, oh, that stuff's bad. You know? It's all that high fructose corn syrup. But you might like Coca-Cola, but to me, it's nasty with that high fructose corn syrup. I knew something was wrong with Coke. I was like, why is it so oddly drying? It's like you drank it now, you're thirstier than when you were thirsty. Yeah, because, you know, they stopped using sugar back in the 1980s, right? Started using that government subsidized stuff. Get the Mexican Coke, you know what I mean? All right, but I don't drink it at all. But I mean, I would drink the Mexican. Hey, Ron, a lot of snowbirds buy that Albertsons whiskey stuff like crazy, says Beavis. Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, if you're down on the coast, the Gulf Coast in Grand Isle, Louisiana or something like that, and you're at a camp and you're fishing or going gigging for flounder at 2 in the morning, you know, these people are going to drink like a fish down there, which to me, they go overboard to get so drunk. But they're going to buy this cheap stuff so they can make mixed drinks all day, you know. I was talking to somebody that was buying one of these Walmart vodkas, you know, Caliber, same people, Sazerac. I said, is that stuff any good? He said, oh, no, it's terrible. But I'm just drinking it to make Jell-O shots for New Year's Eve. I said, okay. Beer is water, barley, hops, yeast. All natural soft drinks have all the chemicals, says Valentin. That's right. That's why they make me feel ill. It's competitive with the comedian whiskey. Oh, Canadian. Yeah, okay. I'm about to say. I'm not familiar with that type of whiskey, comedian. All right. Okay, I've mixed them up enough. Is there going to be a great difference? I'll be surprised if there's any difference. Let's see if they're the same bottling plant, though. This one, Canadian Crest. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. Okay, that's a typical thing, though. Louisville, Kentucky. In other words, a lot of Canadian whiskeys have natural flavors, meaning brandy, rum, bourbon even, American bourbon, and all types of wine. And there's some strict rules about it. It has to be wine or some kind of distilled product, but that's an old practice in Canada, flavoring the whiskey with other stuff because it tends to be kind of bland, you know, so they want to spruce it up a little bit. Yep, Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, this could be the same, literally the same product in two different labels. I would not be shocked. Would not be shocked. Well, let's go anyway and see. All right. Oh, and by the way, the Albertsons is $4.99 a bottle. You heard me right. $4.99 a bottle. The Canadian Crest, on the other hand, is $5.99. So it's $1 more. You can imagine which one I'd be buying. Okay, the aroma. I'm being loud, right? I always think the microphone can't pick up the audio, so I'm like shouting. You say, you haven't even started drinking yet. I know, right? Wait till I start drinking. Ooh, I'll be shrieking. Yeah, smells like whiskey with some kind of plum wine in it. Some kind of wine, sherry. And it's got like some kind of caramel, or Sazerac has referred to it as drizzled rum cake in that brandy, the Hartley brandy. And I'm thinking it could be rum, because you know Sazerac owns about 100 cheap rum brands. I never had rum in my life, but I've had rum cake and, you know, all this other rum derivative. So, you know, and I know what sugar tastes like. I know what molasses tastes like. So it does taste like it might have that added. But they talked about that in Hartley brandy, how it had this drizzled rum cake or buttered rum. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, I see that. It can't be artificial flavors. Or, well, they can have it. They can have artificial flavor, but it has to disclose it on the label. It doesn't disclose it, so they don't have it. Can Canadian whiskey be colored with caramel color? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. So can Scotch and Irish whiskey. Canadian Club whiskey is on the same level with the whiskey you are taste testing. I'd go along with that, except that I think Canadian Club is a little better tasting because it's aged for 5 years, and these are only aged 3 years. So Canadian Club, you get a little more wood action. You know what I mean? It's like a little more developed. Yeah. So the aroma. Ooh, that alcohol burn in my nose. Woo, woo. 80 proof. I'm not detecting any differences. I have to be almost completely honest with you. Now you see that Albertsons, you go back and look at some of the videos I made. It had what I call beeswax, almost like a honeycomb, like a waxy honeycomb. It was bizarre. You know it, but then there's that underlying grain whiskey. You know what I mean? If you're only looking at the the upbeat, you get that. But if you look at the bottom beat, you get the grain. Now they're hoping you're only hearing the high notes, the high audio, right? They don't want you to hear the bottom, because then it's all grain whiskey. You know what? That's Canadian whiskey. You know, it's mostly filler, whatever you want to call it. I know it has to be aged 3 years. The grain whiskey, the corn liquor, corn whiskey. But it doesn't mean it's elaborate or it's anything special. It ain't. Sorry, it's filler. It's like that American, the Albertsons American blended whiskey. It's the same concept, except the Albertsons American doesn't have the flavoring added. Might have up to 2% blending sherry now, yes. They can have that without disclosing it. That's a government regulation. But it'll have the same bottom. You know, the American blended and the Canadian blended, they'll have the same bottom, same baseline, same beat. It's just the top note is different. Good morning, Ron, says Bucky Dent. Good morning to you. I appreciate you watching. Okay, enough's enough. Yeah, it's like the same thing. It's like, oh, I gotta stand up. It's an underlying grain whiskey. If you want to use the word blandness, okay, I'll go along with that. I'm agreeing with myself. See what I'm doing? I'm agreeing with my own contention. I'll go along with that because it's an underlying grain whiskey. If you want to say filler, not unlike corn grits. Okay. Polenta yellow corn grits. Okay. No, there's nothing bad or off-putting or particularly offensive about it. No. Nothing like that. There's nothing particularly remarkable about it or memorable, or, you know, you're not going to call all your friends and say, wow, can't believe it. I'm happy about the meeting, if you ask me. Happy about the meeting? Oh, what do you think of yesterday's meeting of Trump with Putin, says Valentin? Oh, well, I was thinking about making a video today. You know what I mean? About alliances, the danger of alliances. But I said, no, I better do political only once a month. But I feel constrained by that. I could do it once a day, you know, but people would say, I ain't watching your channel. What? But that's fine, because, right, what is my whole argument? I'm not trying to build a channel or a brand. I'm opposed to all of that brand building. You won't see me selling t-shirts. Okay. I can't tell these apart. If you ask me, they're the same thing. There's nothing remarkable. Yeah, I was very pleased with the meeting. I like to see this iconoclastic approach. I'm tired of the whole establishment. You know, the people that gave us wonderful things like World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. 100,000 killed, then 300,000 killed, then 33,000 killed, and 58,000 killed. You know, that gang that wants to hate Russia, that British-American axis, you know, that's been having Russia on the target list since 1815. Yeah, I know they put them on the back burner because they had a new target, Berlin. Once they got Berlin out the way, they went back to target Moscow, St. Petersburg and Moscow. We know. Okay, but that's another argument. Okay, so, but, well, of course they're going to be angry about it because that's their whole raison d'etre, right? That's their whole reason to exist. You got to have an enemy if you're going to be an empire. You can't have Rome without Persia, right? The Roman Empire, you got to fight the evil Persian. Persians got to have Rome. So we must have this monster, you see. But golly, if you make peace in the world, what are you going to do with the empire? What are you going to do? Fight? I mean, you got to have something. The aircraft carriers can't just be roaming around for nothing. Okay, I don't want to sit there and rant and rave against the military-industrial complex. Some people like that. complex, and they work for them. All right. Anyway, all right. So that's basic over there. Not bad. I didn't say bad. I never said this was bad. I said it was basic. I can't tell them apart. Tastes like the same thing to me. Would I buy it again? Well, yeah, I'd buy it again in theory. If I was ever looking to buy another Albertsons store brand for some particular reason, I don't think I would ever have that reason. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I'd recommend them if you want to spend $4.99 or $5.99, but I'd get the $4.99. Why would you pay $1 more for the same thing? If you're ever in Albertsons and you see Albertsons Canadian whiskey, blended whiskey for $4.99, what the heck? Why not? Is it going to change your viewpoint about whiskey? Is it going to be a new paradigm? Are you going to be entering the age of Horus and leaving the age of Aquarius because you bought Albertsons Canadian whiskey? I don't believe. Is it something to make a mixed drink with or drink over ice? Well, yeah. You know, some things can be basic without being bad. I don't know. That's a big theme on this channel, right? Like people taking things that are basic and turning them into the devil, right? You know, back 8 years ago when I started the channel, I was saying Budweiser. They're saying, okay, now if you got on there and you said Budweiser was bland or basic in a lot of ways or nothing too remarkable, okay, I'll go along with that. Fine. I just had a problem with people were saying it was, you know, tastes like glue and caustic and industrial waste, and they were saying it was an F-, and they would rather drink horse urine than Budweiser. And I was like, nah, that's a bad perspective because you're taking something that's just ho-hum and you're making it sound like it's the worst thing in the history of beverages. And I say, no. Okay, comments. I'm happy about the meeting. Valentin says Jesus. Okay. Death to the globalist sellout John McCain. That's you saying that. I wouldn't say death to anybody. We want to be pro-life, not pro-death. So we got to reject that comment. Am I opposed to John McCain? Very much so. But we don't wish anyone death. We got to reject. I can't go along with that comment, Beavis. Okay, Bucky said, I agree. This is a good moment for Trump. He needed it after the disaster he got at the border. Right. That was another one of those manufactured hysterias, right? All those crocodile tears. The same people crying about the children love the atom bomb attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's like, right. You're worried about the children. That's why you didn't mind terror bombing Nuremberg and Frankfurt and Dresden, right? Sure, you're worried about the children. Or bombing the civilians in Serbia in 1999, right? When Bill was doing it. When Bill did it, it was okay. Okay, let's see. John McCain, he says, was captured and tortured by enemies. Yeah. Trump has bone spurs in his foot and dodged military, so what's wrong with you? I don't care what John McCain did. I'm talking about now. If you were a war hero, perhaps a war hero, let's say that. But let's just assume you really were an authentic, let's assume somebody is an authentic war hero. Okay, good. That's wonderful. I'm glad. I'm very proud of you. That doesn't mean I've got to support bad policies, though. You know what I'm saying? If you're a war hero, but your policy positions are bad, guess what? I'm not going to support you. Nothing personal. I have no personal animosity towards John McCain. I never would have dreamed of voting for the guy. I never did vote for him. I never would have ever done that. My nickname for him was Insane McCain, and I said he was an imperialist warmonger. That's all I said. I didn't say I disliked the man personally. So, you know, whether somebody avoided military service because they had bone spurs, I cannot say that I cannot testify to that. They didn't accept me for the military because I had skin that cut too easy. I said, that doesn't seem like a very important thing. They said, no, you can't join. You can't join the Coast Guard Reserve. You can't join the Navy Reserve. The Army recruiter told me out of hand, just in the hallway, you have what? Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. You can't join. He just knew what it was. He said, forget it. I said, okay. Okay, a few more comments. I live in Arizona. What John McCain is. What John? I don't understand that. Same reason I don't like Bolton, says Bucky. Well, you know, John Bolton is part of that American imperialist peace through war approach. You know, that whole thing that's been going on forever, right? I call it peace through war. That's their program, peace through war. The only way we can have world peace is through endless wars and spreading democracy around the world. In other words, the American brand. Well, I don't support that, but that's a policy position. Now, some people take it personally. You see, like, I won't be your friend because we disagree about politics. That's your option. I don't take that approach. I'm friends with people that I think their policy, their ideas about politics are totally wrong. Totally wrong. But I don't hate the people. Anyway, all right. So I was thinking that, you know, before I did this taste challenge, I said, watch, people are going to ask me about the political stuff. I knew, you know. But that's okay. Everything is not about liquor. That's a fun hobby. World events are more important. I agree with that. Okay. All right. So this was totally expected. I thought they would taste the same. They did taste the same. They didn't taste bad. I like the Canadian Limited for what it was. My friend David tried it and told me dump it out. It said it tasted like black licorice and he hated it. I said, well, that's the second time you've got me to dump out some of my liquor that I bought. And I don't like doing, I mean, it's a minimal amount, but I don't like doing that, you know. Nobody has to agree on beverages. And some people were, a couple of people said, we don't like him doing beer reviews with you because he's a Debbie Downer. One guy said that he's a Debbie Downer. I'm not going to watch any reviews you did with him. That, I have a problem with that because I have a certain personality, right? So he has a different personality. The purpose of this channel is not to flow smoothly. It's not to present some sort of a slick production or a brand or to sell t-shirts or get you to like, comment, and subscribe. I mean, I want you to comment. And so when we do reviews together, oftentimes they will be ragged in a way. They'll be contentious because we don't agree on things. He's very critical. I'm not as critical. He'll change his opinion about beers. I've done the same thing many times. But I like the duo reviews because I think they're authentic. I don't like the staged stuff where, oh, it's got to be slick. It's got to be so smooth. It's got to be free of discord and all. I don't like that approach. If you go out and hang out with people in real life, there's going to be disagreements. There's going to be even contention, maybe even arguments. That's how things work in reality. So to say, oh, I'm not going to let David do hangouts with me anymore on air because he's got a grouchy or downbeat or whatever you say, surly attitude or whatever. That I cannot go along with that because this channel is not to build a brand. It's just saying, okay, here's a little window. I drink different alcohol. I like to try them. Here's what I think about them. I'm not an important person. I'm just like you You, the viewer, I try stuff. You say, oh, I thought it was this and that. I said, I thought it was this and that. Here's David over there saying, I thought it was this and that. Maybe he's like more critical than me. Maybe he's grouchy about it, whatever. You know, that's reality. That's how things work in real life. This business about, I want it to be I want it to be a slick, smooth running production and to get a bunch of views and all of it. I can't do it. I can't. I'd rather have 10 viewers and 10 subscribers and it's real than have 25,000 subscribers and all this, and I paid a service to pull a crowd, because that's what a lot of the guys do. They say, oh, look at all the subscribers I got. I know, but yeah, but you paid somebody to do that. I'm not doing it. I'm not like the Beatles at the airport and you say, oh, look, there's 2,000 girls at the airport cheering you on. You just arrived in America. You must be a big band. Well, yeah, of course, they paid the girls to be at the airport. They didn't even know who the Beatles were. Those girls didn't know. That's manufactured hysteria. They paid them to scream at the concert. I mean, you know, this is like marketing 101. This is like basic marketing, but people don't understand that. And it worked. It was very successful, right? You create this artificial, and then it becomes a real Beatlemania, which was very exciting for that band, especially since they were making a lot of money. Not that they saw all the money, you know, because different things like that. But ask Brian Epstein what happened to the money. But anyway, I can't. This channel is not about that. I'm sorry. It's not about production values. I mean, yeah, you want to have audio that people can hear. You want to have video that's clear, you know, reasonably clear. I understand that. I've made videos with the air conditioner running in the background. I know it's very irritating. I was watching a few and I was like, I ought to not even post it. It's too loud. The AC is too loud. So I was very torn about, should I post it? And I may delete it. But I mean, I don't know why that's a big deal. You know, it's like, all you got to do is turn it off. Bucky says, nothing is more boring than a sterile review. You guys play very well off each other and keep it spontaneous. I like y'all together. And I appreciate that. I understand that some people don't. Your videos are fine, very relaxing, says Valentin. Thank you. But that's reality. Like John Lennon said in 1970. He said, but that's reality. So you'll have to carry on. What did he say? You'll just have to carry on. It's over. The Beatles is over. The whole manufactured thing is over. I mean, it's over. All right. It went on for 6 years. It was great. We made a lot of money. But it's over. Okay. We cannot. And he made some good comments about that, because this is like your life. Instead of it's an entertainment group that makes music, you're making it your life. Like it's like organically part of your life. And he was killed in, well, maybe because of that, because look, this fan who went in basically insane, but not really insane, because he admitted he did it because he was just a bad person. He didn't plead guilty by reason of insanity. He just said, I shot him because I didn't like him. He's in prison. Okay. But that fan, he's thinking, oh, the lyrics, they mean something. There's, and I talked about this with beer reviews, there's this quest. Valentin said, maybe politics shouldn't be involved into these reviews. I agree with that, but I can't help myself, right? You know what I mean? Like, you get me started on that, you know I'm going to go off talking about it. But the John Lennon thing is kind of related to this in a way, because they say, oh, it means something. It means something. And they asked him, what about, you know, how could you say this about the world, and yet you live with all this luxury and this wealth and you have all this money? And he tried to tell these fans, he said, you have to detach yourself from it. These are just lyrics. He said this repeatedly. I've probably seen as many John Lennon interviews as you've seen, probably more. What did he say? They're just lyrics I make up because they sound good and I'm trying to sell records. That's as deep as it goes. You're making it, you know, he had a way with words. He could make words sound good, you know, spontaneously. come up with these clever statements. But he said, that's it. That's all it is. It's not a reflection of me personally as a person or whatever. Now, they thought he was on this great quest to change the world and all of this. And I know when he got around that lady from Japan, there was a lot more of that humbug stuff, right? This bed piece and all that. Like there was some manipulation there, and maybe he wasn't clear thinking. You know, I agree with all that, right? But that's what he said. That is manufactured. So when the Beatles broke up, you have to get on. So dear friends, you have to carry on. The dream is over. The dream is over. Okay. And it's the same thing with these videos. It's not a marketing goal or quest. There is no goal. I said this on the last hangout 2 days ago when I did a take-down. There is no goal. There's no end game. There's not a peak I'm trying to reach. I'm not trying to get to the mountaintop with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to. I don't have my eyes on the prize. There is no great goal. There is no greater goal. So you might be saying, so what you trying to tell me, all this is about you drinking stuff and tasting it and telling me what you think. Correct. That's about it. So you might say, I have to turn away from your channel now because I thought there was some great quest. There was some you know what I mean? Some exemplification of life that this represented. It does not represent that. It's fun. It's a hobby. I like looking at brands. But a great goal, a quest, there is none. Sorry, there really is none. It's about as basic as it is. That's as basic as it is. And that was the whole reason for the Vienna sausage. That was meant to be a joke because, I mean, I eat them, but I had another beer reviewer saying, if you're going to say Budweiser is gourmet beer, you may as well say Vienna sausage is great food. He was implying that I was saying Budweiser. I knew who he was throwing shade at. Well, it was comical to me because I never said that Budweiser was a gourmet beer. I said, but I'll show him. I'll just eat every Vienna sausage brand I can get a hold of to go along with the whole farce, the whole idea of a farce. You know what I mean? Like, I'll make it even more of a ridiculous farce, you know, because the whole idea that this is some great quest, I had to make fun of that because it's insanity, you know. To me, it's insanity that drinking alcohol is some great quest. I can't go along with that. I'm sorry, I cannot. I got comic books, but I can look at them in context. It's a magazine. You read it. It's got artwork in it. It's not the reason to exist in this world today. Okay, well, anyway, I have another taste challenge coming up later today because I have scheduling problems this weekend, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do Canadian Crest against Canadian Leaf. Another, you say, oh, another dreary bottom shelf item. That's correct. But you know what? You can have a lot of perverse, if you want to call it, perverse fun with bottom shelf brands. They are quaint. Quaint.